Good morning, everyone. I would also like to welcome you to the IOM Forum workshop on exploring shared value in global health and safety, including those who have joined us in the room here today, but also our webcast participants who are joining virtually. We're really very excited to have you all here with us for what we think will be a robust and productive conversation on a timely and intriguing topic with what I'm sure you will agree is a really impressive group of speakers and panelists. But before we get started, I need to express my sincere thanks to the Planning Committee, Clarion Johnson, Jessica Hertzstein, Regina Rabinovich, and Derek Yak, all of whom contributed their valuable time, insightful perspective and ideas, and a lot of energy over the past several months to put together what I'm sure you will agree is an interesting and comprehensive agenda for this workshop. I'd also like to thank the IOM staff, particularly Rachel Taylor and Priyanka Nalamada. They were catalysts in getting us to this point, and without their outstanding, and I mean truly outstanding, organizational skills and hard work to drive this forward, I can assure you none of us would be here today. So the fourth workshop of the IOM Forum on Public-Private Partnerships for Global Health and Safety is on the topic of shared value. A topic that was selected because it's really important and of interest to forum members, but more broadly to private sector organizations who are seeking new ways and opportunities to yield greater business value from their social investments, as well as creative ways to build a more competitive and sustainable business. Interest in this topic, however, extends beyond the private sector to government, non-governmental, academic, foundation, and civil society organizations who may ultimately be impacted by this shift in how companies address and respond to societal needs in the global health community, and who are also looking for new ways to carry out their respective missions. Notably, registration for this workshop, I understand, filled within hours. So we know this is a relevant subject for a broad range of stakeholders, and one that's getting a lot of airtime in many organizations in different sectors. Companies today are operating in a more complex and competitive environment where traditional models for doing business are just no longer sufficient. And expectations of business are growing as well, both internally and externally. You know, this was evident in the expectations around the role of the private sector in achieving the MDGs, and perhaps even more so now with the new SDGs. Many companies have long and robust histories of contributing to their communities, as well as to more global societal needs. But this has been done primarily and historically through philanthropy and more traditional corporate social responsibility. These mechanisms, which are not part of the core business, are still meaningful and useful. And I believe they will play, and they do play and will continue to play an important role in how companies contribute to society. But companies are increasingly seeking greater alignment of these activities with their business interests in order to increase their value proposition. These same companies are also under increased pressure to build their business in a sustainable manner through innovative approaches. So they're looking for new ways to do both, to contribute to society and build their business, and to build their business, and to do so in a way that's scalable, replicable, and durable. This interest on the part of the corporate sector to align their core business strategies with the needs of society or to pursue a shared value approach has gathered steam in the last several years. Some organizations have embraced this methodology wholeheartedly. Others are in the process of evaluating its value. Some have decided to go in a different direction, and still others have put their own twist on shared value. And many have chosen a portfolio approach, having a mix of philanthropic, socially responsible, and shared value initiatives. Throughout this workshop, you'll hear from organizations at various places along this spectrum. Over the next 2 days, we're going to consider various potential opportunities for creating shared value for all organizations, specifically the creation and impact of shared value through an organization's core products and services, through employee health and wellness programs, and through community or population health investments. Organizations that are creating true shared value are using their core capabilities and competitive advantage to address a wider range of social challenges. The application of shared value to improve global health seems to be a more natural fit for those that are in the health business, who have health at the core of their business, where one could argue that these companies are creating shared value almost inherently by the nature of their business. But the question is, are there opportunities for all companies to positively impact health through their core products and service, as well as through investments in employee and community health programs? For example, all companies, regardless of their core business, have the opportunity to put in place programs that address the health and well-being of their employees, which, if done well, can result in improved employee health, enhanced productivity, and reduced health costs over the long term, and also leading to improved financial performance for that organization. There's also the opportunity to advance health through investments in community and population health, particularly in communities where these organizations operate, resulting in healthier communities, but also bringing back value to the company, for example, in the form of enhanced reputation or better relationships in that community. Finally, we know that it's important to measure the impact of these efforts, yet the bulk of sustainability and integrated corporate reporting and related indices do not currently include health and health metrics, and the question is, should they? So the workshop will explore all of these aspects of shared value. It will examine relationships between shared value creation and meeting the health and safety needs of communities around the globe, and it will examine the impacts and implications of an accelerating movement toward shared value creation for all global health and safety stakeholders, especially corporations, but also non-governmental organizations, government agencies, foundations, academia, and civil society. I think it's important to note that this workshop has been designed to focus not only on the results achieved through a shared value approach, but on the journey of how they got there, including the limits and challenges faced by these organizations, faced and hopefully conquered by these organizations. We felt that by focusing on the journey and not just the results, we will uncover valuable lessons from a range of industries and organizations. So our expectation over the next couple of days is that the discussion will help to inform all participants on the topic of shared value, its potential relevance for your organization, practical insights and advice on possible challenges in promoting shared value in your organization and implementing this methodology should you choose to go down that path, how to measure progress and results, and its potential impact more broadly on global health and safety. I know there are aspects of shared value that I have been evaluating and sometimes grappling with within my own organization, so I'm really eager and excited to hear about the diverse and informative experience of others. I want to mention that there will be Q&A and discussion throughout the workshop. As a reminder, forum members and speakers who are seated at the tables should just turn up their tent cards if you have a question and use the table mics for those questions. Other participants in the room should line up at the standing mic, which I think is in the center of the room there. And it's important to identify yourself and to speak loudly because we do have a live webcast going, but we're also transcribing the workshop. So, turning to today's agenda, we have heard shared value spoken about in different ways, the most prominent of which, though, is shared value as defined by Michael Porter and Mark Kramer. And we are very, very pleased to have Mark Kramer with us here today to kick off this discussion. Mark Kramer leads FSG, a nonprofit consulting firm working to devise social impact strategies for some of the world's largest foundations, corporations, and nonprofit organizations. Mark also serves as a senior fellow at Harvard's Kennedy School of Government and has published extensively on topics of philanthropy, collective impact, evaluation, and creating shared value. So I'm very pleased to welcome Mark to the workshop.